Well, hello there, and welcome to a grittier and more adult version of baking in camouflage. I'm sorry you had to see this, guys. I really am. I don't know what's gotten into me. So today I'm going to prepare Kaiserschmarrn, or you could also call it a cut-up pancake. But to literally translate it would be kind of challenging. Well, Kaiser means emperor, obviously, but don't ask me to translate Schmarrn. It's some sort of a dialect, a slang word. And I actually can't think of an accurate translation to it. Chaos, nonsense, failure. Anyway, enough with the introduction already. Big thank you goes out to bakingchin. Please check out his channel, it's really awesome. It's all about cooking, but like a 1950s cooking show of some sort. I believe bakingchin requested this video. I don't know for sure though, because I can't seem to find the comment anymore. Right, like I have hundreds of thousands of comments. Anyway, thank you bakingchin, and I hope you enjoy this video. Now this is real easy to do. Like every so often, separate 4 egg yolks from their whites. I know it looks more like 3, but one broke apart. And whisk the whites until very stiff. You know the drill. Same old, same old. I'm gonna put this in the fridge for the time being. To those yolks add 1 pack of vanilla sugar and about 80 or maybe 100 grams of powdered sugar. And whisk by hand. Now it's just about time to add maybe 375 milliliters of cold milk and whisk again. Next step, about 120-130 grams of flour, all-purpose flour. Now instantly forget about the 130 grams of flour, because this is way too thin. Just add a little more flour until you have the right thickness. Right, I believe this is about the texture we're going for. That was maybe 300 grams flour in total. I didn't really measure, just go on instinct. Okay, apparently this is when some people like to use some sparkling mineral water to make the dough light and fluffy. But since I don't have sparkling mineral water in the house right now, and you don't really need to apply it to have a fluffy dough, I'm going to use just about 1 point of a knife of baking powder. So yeah, baking powder, not cocaine or something. Even though I spilled some, I believe that should do the trick. Oh, and by all means don't forget the egg whites in the fridge. Gently fold them in. Oh, and I forgot to use a pinch of salt beforehand, but I guess it can't hurt applying that now. Just your table salt. And not much of it. Oh yeah, looking good. Now there is pretty much a holy war fought over the next step, because if you are going to add some raisins, now would be the time. But like I said, it's like some sort of holy war, because both versions of the Kaiserschmarrn are traditional, with or without raisins. Personally, I prefer to leave them out. However, should you decide to put some raisins in there, soak them in rum for about 30 minutes before applying them. Oh, and supposedly even the old Austrian emperor himself preferred the recipe without raisins. But there's a story going around that his personal cook or something added the raisins anyway, because he believed it was tradition. So I guess that really shows how much the emperor had to say. So in the meantime you can heat up a frying pan. Don't crank the heat up too high. Add a little unsalted butter, sweet butter, and melt it down. Also, I like to do something with my Kaiserschmarrn that some traditionalists will give me death threats about. I like to add a hearty teaspoonful of cinnamon. It's not traditional at all, it's like my own twist. but it makes it taste really wintry and cinnamony, and I kind of dig that. So the butter is all melted nicely, and now I'm going to add this to the pan. Not all of it, because it turned out to be quite much. There, that should do it. Man, it already smells really nice, buttery and cinnamony. I could just slurp it up right now, if you know what I mean. I'm gonna put a lid on it for some time. And remember, don't crank up the heat too much, so nothing gets burned. Once it dried up a little and it moves around like that easily, it's time to flip it. But since I cannot flip a huge thing like that, some people may be able to, I am clearly not, I'm going to divide it into like 4 parts. I can flip much more easily. Alright. Okay, don't change the heat setting. Just let those babies sit for a few more minutes. And then we're going to start tearing them up. It's already nice and fluffy, real great. It's kind of dark because of the cinnamon, so a more traditional Kaiserschmarrn would be yellow. But like I said, I prefer it that way. Now we can just poke it to see if it's cooked through. I guess it's pretty much done. So now we can start the tearing process. Just tear it into little pieces. When I've got enough dough left to make another frying pan like this one, and I believe I will. If you have too much dough, just cook it all at once. You can refrigerate it afterwards, and it should be still good after 1 or 2 days in the fridge. Just microwave it and there you go. Right, so after you shredded the poor soul into bits and pieces, really the only thing left to do is like stir fry it over the same low heat level until it gets a little darker. Now this is optional, but what I also like to do is add a little powdered sugar while it's still hot into the pan. I like to caramelize this a little. So after you've browned it enough for your taste, it's time to plate it up with some powdered sugar on top, and that's about it. A great side dish for the Kaiserschmarrn would be some applesauce, or the traditional way to eat it would be some Zwetschgenröster. Just cut up some plumes and boil them with some lemon juice and cinnamon and sugar and some cloves and maybe a little rum or cognac just for flavor until they turn into some sort of syrupy concoction. Also, the Kaiserschmarrn is not really meant to be a dessert. It's called a sweet dish, which is basically an alternative to savory, salty, spicy main dishes. Alright, itadakimasu, I mean Mahlzeit.
Österreich, früher groß wie nie. Und Kaiser Franz, der Donauhecht im Sumpf der Monarchie. Walzertakt und Schaderschruf lagen in der Luft. Doch heute hört man ein Wimmern aus der Kapuzinergruft. Was sind das für Zeiten? Was hat das zu bedeuten? Immer diese Popmusik, Popmusik, Popmusik. Wo führt das nur hin? Immer.
To be honest, it's a little dry actually. So when you make it, be sure to use lots and lots of butter to pan fry it.